Good morning. Day 2, Tuesday. Our house is parked here. Mine and Arno's house. Look at this. Beautiful park. The beach is right there. And we got free Wi-Fi and everything. So like all the modern comfort. And yeah, today I'm just gonna make some breakfast with what was found on Sunday night. Some bananas, some cereal, some water, and life is good. Not spending any money at the moment. So no rent, no money for food. It feels pretty freeing. And I also decided that day to go interview Julianne, the lady we met around the dumpster, to ask a question about her lifestyle and how she started dumpster diving. Good afternoon here in Buttering, Queensland, Australia. I met Julianne. We're at her house, and we met around the bin. It's a crazy place to meet, at Aldi. She's a fellow dumpster diver, and I decided to come to a place and ask her because you've been doing it for a long time now.
Yes, I have.
About
a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we're here to talk about dumpster diving. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite dive? Do you go head first, or do you usually
I skim along the top.
skim along the top?
Yes. Yeah. If I got in, I would never get out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
How old are you today?
I'm 61.
61. So yeah, you don't want to be diving too.
I don't actually dive unless I take my grandson, and he'll jump in if there's something worthwhile jumping in for.
And you said he was 17.
He's 17.
So
yes.
top of his shape, probably does salto in the bin.
Absolutely, it's not a problem to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you do it mostly for? Do you do it for all your food needs? Or?
We don't get all of our food needs, but at times, and if I work at it, we could get up to 90%.
So 90% of what you need for food for the week, you get.
No, not what we need. We would get 100% of what we need, but what we want.
Okay.
So there's still those little extras that we might not have, like ice creams or something like that. Then we might buy those. Yeah.
Like the little.
But if I needed to live on it, yeah, you certainly could. There's absolutely.
If you had to.
Well, we have lived on it from time to time when money's been a bit harder. Yeah.
Is it how you got into dumpster diving? Was it?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't working. We were finding money a bit hard, and I watched some dumpster diving YouTube videos, saw how much and the quality of the food, and I guarantee you 100% of people who haven't dumpster dived would not believe the quality and the quantity of the food that is thrown out every night in rubbish bins around Australia and all over the world, but particularly Australia, America and England.
Do you find it sometimes?
You can't help but see how ludicrous it sometimes is. I have had biscuits from Holland. I've had jam from England. Think of all those food miles to bring it out here, only to end up in landfill. It's ridiculous. And it's a sign of a capitalist society going crazy. It's just bonkers.
More and more and more.
More and more. And when everything comes back to the mighty dollar, some shops do try to be responsible, and they do try to get rid of their excess in a community and environmentally aware way. But sometimes it comes down to that dollar, that it's going to cost them more money to do that, and so it ends up in the bin. And we end up with it, hopefully.
Is it? And it's, we saw last time we went dumpster diving, just before we saw you, we had a security at Woolworth coming and telling us we can't do this. And I read before that dumpster diving was illegal. Did you ever happen to encounter any problems while doing it? Or?
I have. I've had police, security, and just probably the most aggressive one was just an old guy walking his dog. And he took offense to the fact that I was getting stuff out of a rubbish bin. But I think being a woman makes it a lot easier, and particularly if I'm on my own, and being an older woman. There's two get out of jail free cards
and
there.
You look less
I'm
suspicious as well.
I usually go in my it's pretty much all I wear is tie-dye shirts and pants, and yeah, I'm not threatening to anybody, and so I don't think they would give me, and if they ask me what I'm doing, I always say I'm looking for some feed for my chooks. Because if you say you're eating it yourself, they go into that whole big rave about, we can't guarantee how safe the food will be, you'll get sick, blah, 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 blah. I've never been sick. And when I used to eat meat, which I don't now, but my husband does, We've never been sick.
So you even get meat from the bin?
Oh, absolutely. It's either frozen or cold, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
If,
But I mean,
if it's been sitting
we
there.
have common sense. We
Yeah,
use our
exactly.
eyes, we look at it, we smell it.
Yeah.
You know, when you're cooking it, even
Same
if
as
you
in the
taste it.
fridge. A lot of food that will be kept in your fridge for a week sometimes is sometimes older than the food you find in the bin, because that food you just found has just been thrown there
Yeah.
just recently.
Well, if you'd got 5 minutes before, you would have bought that off the shelf for $8.99.
That's true.
And you know, like half an hour later, we pop it out the bin and say thanks very much,
That is true.
and stop it going down to
So
landfill.
they forgive they prevent people from dumpster diving because the reason is if you get sick, you could sue them. I heard like
I don't think that you can. And in America, they brought out a law so that you can't if you are taking stuff out of rubbish bins. I think you'd have to. I can't imagine. I tried to look up the law, and it is so convoluted. But I think there's 4 rules for dumpster divers, and one is make sure the bin's on public domain, which means in a car park, easy to pull your car up next to, not locked out. Don't break into locks. Don't go opening gates. You know that's then becomes private property. This is everyone to their own, but this is my rules that I go by. One is you leave the place tidier than what you found it. You respect that property and the fact that you're getting some stuff. You never take more than you need, like, or that you can give away. And what's the 4th one? There's usually a 4th one.
maybe it's not the most important one if you don't.
Maybe
remember
it's
it.
not the maybe it's not the most important, but yeah.
Just try to find it.
Oh, you leave if you're asked to leave.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't believe in fighting or being militant about it.
And there's nothing you can do against someone who's paid to just walk the parking lot and tell people to leave. He's not the boss. It's just
You say, oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was legal. Because, I mean, they're also stopping people dumping their rubbish off in those bins.
okay.
Those shops pay a lot of money to empty those dumpsters, and people drive up there with their cars and they offload all their rubbish into it. You can understand that it's not just us, but it's those people, you know, putting all their garden waste and rubbish in the bins as well.
So what do you think will be a solution to just, and it's a big question, but to prevent all that food being wasted? Do you think there should be associations who just go and pick up the bin, or the shop should maybe have a rack outside that just sells it for very cheap, like $4 or such, for fruits, for example? Or...
I think it's very hard for shops to do that, because if it comes, you know, like Woolworths will put out their trays, $3 a bag, but they never do it at the set time, because people will wait for that time, and then they won't buy it at the price that makes a profit for the shop. I do think giving it to organisations is really good. Giving it to soup kitchens. There's actually cafes that have set up that only use dumpster food, and so whatever's on the menu, I mean, you don't order what's on the menu that day is what they could find the night before, and you don't pay anything if you can't afford it.
So you just give what you can.
It's
to
a
the cafe.
donation if you want to. I think that's a
That's a
great
good
idea.
That's a really good
You know,
idea.
it's a wonderful idea.
I heard of this lady who did this in Holland, where she went to dumpster dive and collected all that food and organized, you know, one of those pop-up dinner
yeah.
where, you know, people come and it's like very fancy, and she makes chef food for everyone. And she made all this food for these people, and very nice food. And at the end, she told them, "Oh, all the food you had tonight came from a dumpster. It was food that were wasted." Most people couldn't believe it because it was very good food. And I think in everyone's reality, if it's in the trash, it's dirty. When I heard eating from the trash, I imagine, you know, a homeless person going and to eat the rest of someone's pizza. But it's people don't realize that there is mountains of food being thrown away. I would say every day.
Yeah, every day. Every day.
And we have people all around the world who are just starving.
Have you heard of Rob Greenfield? He rode a push bike across America, and he ate mostly out of dumpsters.
He didn't use any soap as well. It's like he
That's
just
right.
only
Yeah,
washed
he has
in
natural hygiene. He washes
I
in
heard of it,
rivers
yeah.
and seas, and yeah.
He no money. He lives with no money at all.
Yeah, a dude making a difference, I think he's called. And
Dude making a
he's
difference.
he's wonderful. Yeah.
What's his name? Robert?
Rob Greenfield.
Rob Greenfield. Rob Greenfield.
Yeah. YouTubing or Facebooking.
What else can you say? I'm gonna cut and we got 9 minutes.